What's up? My name is John, and this is Cinema Saturday. Today, I have a review for Thunderbolts. This is the latest Marvel Studios MCU film. It follows a group of anti-heroes that were set up by their boss, and now they're on the run, but also trying to get revenge, all while maybe dealing with some mental health issues. There's superhumans involved, and of course, hijinks ensue. Now, we've been getting a lot of Marvel content in the last 4 months. We literally had Captain America 4, then Daredevil, and now Thunderbolts. And then about in a month and a half, we're gonna get Fantastic Four. You know, we're getting fed a lot of content, which could be good for some of us, but maybe not so good for others if you're kind of, fatigued on the superhero genre. So I would say that this movie is a little bit less fantastical. It's definitely more of the classic MCU feel that we're used to. You know, mostly everyone here punches and shoots. And there's not much you need to know about this movie going into it. You maybe might want to catch Black Widow before watching Thunderbolts. I watched Black Widow a couple years ago. I pretty much remember it. R.I.P. Natasha. But I didn't rewatch it before going into this movie. I did watch Hawkeye. I did rewatch Falcon and Winter Soldier before going to see Cap 4. So I knew what was up with Bucky. But really going into this movie, you don't need to know too much of anything other than Black Widow died in Endgame. Spoiler alert. And there's a prequel movie about her family. And that's where some characters come in. So if you want to know a little bit more about them, you can. But the movie pretty much sets up all our characters to be like, yep, this is them. This is what they're going through. And it wasn't very plot dumpy. It was just like you saw their lifestyle and you were just like, oh, okay. So you don't really need to watch anything before going into Thunderbolts. If you missed the last couple of MCU movies, it's fine. I think you'll just jump right in. You'll figure it out very quickly what everyone's doing, what they've been up to, and where the movie goes from there. So just enjoy the ride. I had a really good time with this movie. It was very fun. It was entertaining. It was just a blast all around. And it was cool to kind of just hang out with some characters. You know, I might say this is a little bit of a slice of life type Marvel movie. Even though there's lots of action and things going on, there's so much character development, characters talking, just being themselves and going through situations that maybe I could call it a slice of life. But I really had a good time with this movie. So let me go over some of the best parts of the movie. So first off, this movie is pretty funny. It's really funny. I laughed out loud several times during this movie. A lot of their jokes land, the setups pay off, and the banter between characters is spot on. They did a really good job with that. So this is not a comedy film, but it does have a lot of comedic moments in there in the movie to, lighten the situation some. Because, what situations do we go through? So like I said before, our characters are dealing with some heavy stuff, man. Pretty much everyone here is unhappy in some way, shape, or form. Maybe they don't feel fulfilled with their career. Maybe they don't have a great family life. Maybe they don't have a family. Things are just not looking up for them. They're not being very optimistic about life, and life just seems like, the road they've been going down, they're just kind of tired of going down that road. And it was great to see how the team and all the characters, at the very least began to start finding a way to, I guess, healing or, finding a way to live a better life or a life that they think will fulfill them more. I think all of that was just very heartwarming, also dealing with the mental health. And I have to say, I think that's what really won me over in this movie. Because I was having a good time, but then they were like, ooh, are you sad too? And I was like, damn. Am I sad? Am I fulfilled? How's life going? Life is going good, right? Right. But it was just very relatable in that sense. And I think a lot of people can relate to, at one point in their life, whether they had to make a decision to change something for the better. So that really got me. And all those characters dealing with all of that mental health, they end up still being very likable. I liked all the characters in this movie, even U.S. Special Agent John Walker. His name is my name too, and I don't know how I feel about that. But it looks like, somewhere down the line, even all of our characters, they're trying to find their redemption arc. I'm a real supporter of those redemption stories, those comeback stories, because people can change and your life can change and you can do different things. It's possible. But I think everyone here was cast really well. All the actors did a fantastic job. Let's give a shout out to our main girl, Florence Pugh, who delivered once again another fantastic performance. The first time I saw Florence Pugh was in Midsommar. And from there, I fell in love. Florence Pugh, if you're seeing this, you're fantastic. Keep at it. And of course, we also have David Harbour as Red Guardian. He steals a lot of the laughs in this movie. A lot of his lines are just so good. They're really funny. And David Harbour delivering those lines makes it all the funnier. He just does a great job with the accent. And I know David Harbour from Stranger Things, and in my brain, I was like, can I see, the guy from Stranger Things, his character? I'm blanking on it. Can I see him? No, this is the same actor, but this is not the same dude. So kudos to David Harbour for nailing that down. Of course, we also got to give a shout out to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I'm so sorry. She plays Val, and she does a fantastic job of being just a type A business lady, gaslight, gatekeep girl boss. She does it. She really sells it, and she does. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Val, the actor, she does a great job. And of course, I guess for me, on the standout, I actually really like Bob. I don't know, maybe because he came off as innocent, maybe kind of just like, hey guys, how's it going? He just seemed like the little kid in the group to all these other, I guess, like adults, assassins. Because he was just, a regular guy. So Bob is just Bob. He's great. He's fantastic. Bob has a very special character arc that he goes through, but no spoilers. So, I also really like Ava. I thought she brought a different dynamic to the team that was needed. I also like the actress. She was just good. Maybe not too much of a standout, but I was glad she was there. Oh, and we can't forget about Bucky. We love Bucky. But I will say that Bucky isn't in here a lot. I think because Bucky is almost an Avenger level character. So he's not too much on this Thunderbolts team. He does end up on the team about halfway through the movie to the end of the movie. But, we love Bucky. Bucky does great. Sebastian Stan, so good. Oscar nominated, Oscar winner. We love Sebastian Stan. But we love him as Bucky as well. And he does a great job here. We just love Bucky because we've always been rooting for Bucky. So Sebastian Stan plays Bucky here well. I guess at the end of the day, I just wish there was more Bucky in this movie. Give me more Bucky. His biggest action sequence, I think, is in the trailer with him on the motorcycle and the army cars. So it's a little bit longer in the movie, And in context in the movie, it's pretty freaking cool. And it's still pretty freaking cool. But I wish there was more to it. Cause I think we see a lot of it in the trailer. But those characters, man, those characters were so good. I like them all. Which I guess has to be attributed to the writing and the direction of this movie. The dialogue of this movie is really good. I could honestly, sometimes I say things are like a hangover movie because you can just like, you can just listen to it, put it in the background and kind of watch it, kind of not. And I want to say this is a hangover movie in the best way possible. Like, this is the best, like, you don't have to be not feeling well, but you can put this on and just kind of like have it on in the background. And you could just listen to what's going on and how they're talking and the dialogue and the banter. And just the writing was really good. And so I think the writing is really good in this movie. I like the story. The plot isn't too original, but with this fresh perspective, I think it makes it very intriguing and refreshing. There's a very strong tone and vibe of this movie as well. It kind of starts off a little dark, a little gloomy, because like I said, they're dealing with mental health. And the world is gray, and the work that these anti-heroes do, isn't always black and white. So, it has the direction of the movie really sets that tone. And I think this goes well with the message that the movie eventually tells you about handling life. Okay, so the not so good thing, I kind of already spoke on it once with Bucky. He didn't have a lot of action scenes, but overall there weren't that many big fantastical action scenes in this movie. I would say in Captain America 4, there were action scenes, but there were punch, fighting, shooting, kicking every time. There's the scene on the ocean. We had the big scene in the White House. I guess all to say that the third act CGI, Fire Fest wasn't that big of a fire or fest. It was very cool though, what happens in the third act. And there is action leading up to it. There is an action scene. There's an action scene in a bunker that I think is probably the best action sequence in the movie. That plays from action, what's happening, action, what's happening, action, and then we're done until we go to the next thing. So there is action, but just not that glorious MCU ooh action. But I say that with a grain of salt because the action that they do have in this movie is pretty cool. Again, Bucky's scene is still pretty cool. The bunker scene is pretty cool. Third act scene is pretty cool. And I did mention a superhuman, and their scene is also pretty freaking cool. So, hey, while it's light on action, what we do get is very thrilling. So I'll let it slide. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the Thunderbolts, as if I haven't been yapping for so long. So after saying all that, I think I'll give Thunderbolts a good old 8 on the scale, which is, I think, higher than Captain America 4, which I gave a 7. So Thunderbolts, I give it an 8. It's a pretty good movie. It's a funny movie. It has lots of heart, a good amount of action, enough action to keep you thinking that this is an MCU movie. And I think it's a pretty fun time overall with a high rewatchability factor. Alright, so that's it for me. My name is John. Thank you for watching Cinema Saturday. And as always, have a good one.